Ladies and gentlemen, it's an interesting thing, love. People think of it as this grand, almost cinematic event. Fireworks, violins, and a thunderbolt from the heavens. But that's not how it really works. That's how the movies lie to you. Real love, the kind that actually transforms you, it's quieter, more subtle, more dangerous, even. Because it doesn't announce itself with trumpets. It reveals itself in small, deliberate acts of attention. You see, love isn't an emotion in the way people usually think of it. It's a pattern of behavior. It's a mode of being. It's an orientation toward the world and toward another person that says, I see you, and I accept the responsibility of seeing you. That's a heavy thing to say, because to truly see another human being means to confront not just their virtues, but their flaws, the chaos that lies beneath their surface. And when someone chooses to stay, even after seeing all that, that's one of the clearest signs love has found you. They may never say it, but they stay. So, they may never say it outright. They may never hand you a declaration wrapped in perfect words. But you'll see it in their patience when you're tired, in their laughter when you're difficult, in their steadiness when the world feels like it's collapsing. That's love, not the fireworks, but the foundation, not the declaration, but the devotion. And if you have someone like that in your life, don't wait for them to say it. Say it with your own actions. Meet their quiet love with your own courage. Because in the end, love isn't what you say, it's what you choose to do, again and again, even when it's hard. Love is not merely a fleeting feeling or an emotional high that comes and goes with circumstance. It's a pattern of behavior, a deliberate, sustained way of relating to another person. Too often, we confuse love with attraction, excitement, or dependency. But those things, while powerful or unstable, they change as moods shift, as novelty fades, as life becomes difficult. Real love, in contrast, is something sturdier, something that persists through discomfort and uncertainty. It's not defined by how you feel in a given moment, but by how you act repeatedly, especially when it would be easier not to. To love someone genuinely means to orient yourself toward their well-being, not just your own. It's a responsibility, a promise, spoken or unspoken, that you will treat their existence as something valuable, something worthy of care and attention. It's the small, consistent gestures that reveal it, the willingness to listen even when you're tired, the patience to stay present when things are tense, the courage to speak the truth, even if it might hurt in the short term, but help in the long run. Those aren't acts of infatuation. They're acts of commitment. They are the daily choices that build a foundation strong enough to withstand the chaos that life inevitably brings. In this sense, love isn't about perfection. It's about perseverance. When someone continues to show up, when they choose understanding over irritation, when they forgive without keeping score, that's love expressing itself in the real world. It's less about saying, I love you, and more about living in a way that proves it. And that kind of love takes work. It requires discipline, humility, and the recognition that another person's happiness is intertwined with your own growth. Love, then, is an ethical posture as much as it is an emotion. It calls you to act rightly, to care, to protect, to nurture, even when no one is watching, even when there's nothing immediate to gain. It's a long-term commitment to another human being's unfolding, to their chaos and potential alike. That's why real love transforms you. It demands that you become more attentive, more responsible, more capable of sacrifice, because only when love becomes a pattern, not a moment, does it have the power to endure. They may never say it, but they stay. That single truth captures something profound about the nature of real love. Words are easy. Anyone can say, I love you. But the truest expressions of love often come in silence, in presence, in the quiet consistency of someone who refuses to walk away when things become difficult. Love doesn't always need to announce itself. It lives in the space between words, in the moments when someone chooses to be there, even when they don't have to be. When life becomes chaotic, when you are exhausted, anxious, or uncertain, and yet someone chooses to stand beside you. That's love in its purest form. They might not offer the perfect comfort or the right advice, but they stay. Their presence becomes a signal. You're not alone in this. That's more powerful than any declaration, because staying requires strength. It means they've seen you at your weakest, your most unguarded, and still believe you're worth their time, their effort, and their patience. This kind of love is rarely dramatic. It's not the kind that makes headlines or fills poetry books. It's subtle, steady, and enduring. It shows up when you least expect it. When someone remembers something small you mentioned weeks ago, or when they give you space to think instead of demanding explanations. It's found in the gentle acts that say, I see you and I accept you even here, even now. Real love has an intelligence to it. It knows that sometimes words only complicate what presence can make clear. In a world obsessed with constant validation, we often overlook this quieter kind of affection. We chase reassurance in language, forgetting that words can be hollow if not anchored in action. But presence, real attentive, grounded presence, cannot be faked. It reveals character. It shows commitment. It communicates something deeper than "I love you." It says, "I am here, and I'm not leaving just because this is difficult." Love, in its truest form, always involves sacrifice and responsibility. It isn't merely about sharing joy or affection. It's about choosing to carry the weight that comes with caring deeply for another person. When you love someone, you take on a moral duty, not to control them, not to save them, but to act in ways that protect what is fragile and nurture what is good. This is not an easy task. It requires the willingness to give something up: time, comfort, pride, even parts of your ego. But in that giving, something sacred happens. Love becomes real, grounded not in sentiment, but in action. Every genuine relationship demands a degree of sacrifice. You might give up your convenience to help them when it's inconvenient. You might hold your tongue to spare unnecessary pain or speak a hard truth because they deserve honesty more than comfort. These small daily acts are not glamorous, but they are heroic in their own way. They represent a conscious decision to prioritize something larger than yourself, the bond you share, the shared story you're writing together. In every sacrifice, there's a statement: "You matter enough for me to bear this cost." Responsibility is the natural companion to sacrifice. Love cannot thrive in a space where no one takes responsibility for their actions, their words, or their emotional presence. When you love someone, you acknowledge that your behavior affects their world. You become careful not to wound thoughtlessly, not to neglect what needs tending. This doesn't mean losing yourself. It means expanding yourself, becoming more aware, more patient, more disciplined. Love calls you to grow into the kind of person who can sustain it. Love may already be present in your life, but recognizing it requires a certain kind of awareness, a willingness to see beyond your own fears, doubts, and insecurities. Many people miss the love surrounding them because they're too busy searching for something dramatic or idealized. They imagine love as constant reassurance or endless validation. But love, in reality, often appears quietly disguised in patient understanding and small acts of care. To notice it, you must first learn to be still, to look without demanding proof. You can't see love clearly if your vision is clouded by resentment or self-loathing. When you believe you're unworthy of love, you start interpreting every act of kindness as pity, every moment of silence as neglect. You push people away or question their sincerity because you expect abandonment before it even happens. That's not love failing you. That's your perception distorting it. Becoming aware of love requires inner work, sorting through your chaos, confronting your pain, and letting go of the narratives that tell you you're undeserving. Only then can you truly perceive when someone is offering something genuine. Awakening to love also means paying attention to subtleties. It's the way someone listens without interrupting, the way they remember your worries, the way they show up when things fall apart. These aren't coincidences, they're choices. But if you're too distracted, too cynical, or too focused on what love should look like, you'll miss the quiet reality of what it is. Love isn't always loud, but it's steady. It doesn't demand recognition, but it waits to be seen by those who are ready to notice. This awareness also carries responsibility. When you begin to recognize real love, you must meet it with gratitude, not entitlement. You have to nurture it, protect it, and reciprocate it through your own presence and effort. Love thrives where it is acknowledged and reciprocated. It fades where it is taken for granted. So look closely at the people around you, at their patience, their consistency, their care. Ask yourself whether love has already found you, quietly shaping your life while you were too distracted to notice. The truth is, love rarely arrives with fanfare. More often, it's already there, waiting for you to open your eyes and finally see it.